Hello, and welcome back to another edition of the MCR. My name is Mac. With me this morning is TJ. We are the MCR. So first thing we're going to talk about, and I hope we're getting to this fast enough, Gavin Newsome has proposed an amendment to the Constitution. It would be the 28th Amendment, and it would revoke or repeal the Second Amendment. Now the Democrats want to throw out parts of the Bill of Rights. As you know, TJ, these are rights set aside, not set aside, but recognized by the founders in the Constitution as inalienable rights. Well, they want to get rid of that, or he does, because he has I don't believe he's so childish to believe that guns go away if we ban them. I mean, how'd that work out with the war on drugs? People still taking heroin? People still taking meth? Cocaine still flowing into the country? Fentanyl is illegal to have, but yet, it's flowing over the border.
If we could take a swerve down history lane here, this country would not have come into existence without the Bill of Rights. If you recall, and this is how I've been taught, if you recall, the Constitution was presented to the 13 colonies, and the general response was, okay, you said the government could do this, 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 and this, but you have not mentioned what the government cannot do. And some of the colonies would not sign on to the Constitution without the Bill of Rights. So basically, if I understand you correctly, Mac, Gavin Newsom wants to do away with something in this Bill of Rights that the original 13 colonies basically demanded.
Yes, absolutely. That's what he wants to do.
I mean, that's how I'm interpreting this.
But my theory on this whole thing, as you know, a constitutional amendment, it takes, I think it's 3/4 to call the convention, and then another 3/4 to, and I could be wrong about this. One of our viewers, John Hawley, will correct me for sure, because he knows all this stuff like off the top of his head. Great historian.
Which is good, right?
Oh, yeah, John's great. I wish we could have him on, but John still works, and he would be stricken down, like someone in the biblical sense. But I think what this is, just a distraction. It's going to rile gun owners. We're going to talk about it like we are now, but I think it's a distraction away from the Biden crime family again.
Well, and you know what? That's entirely possible. I think it also takes 30-something states. I don't know why the number 38 sticks in my head, but
I think that's 3/4.
But it also, and this is I meant as you and I were kicking this around before we began. This is the type of thing that would come into conflict with the state of Louisiana that we talked about just last week. Okay, and
here's the thing. And it gets into something you said was one of the reasons we were concerned with any kind of sanctuaries is, well, I just don't like that law. Well, we're talking about amending the Constitution, so it wouldn't be, if let's say this process went through and the Second Amendment was stricken down, that wouldn't be unconstitutional. Immoral.
Well,
yes.
it would come into conflict with the Bill of Rights and giving Louisiana the moral high ground, we'll say.
I don't know that we could agree to disagree on that one, because I think that once the Constitution is changed, because it makes provisions to be changed.
Well,
I don't think there's anything that says, and anybody out there can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there's anything that says, hey, the Bill of Rights are untouchable. You know what? Maybe that amendment ought to be.
Well, they were when this country was founded.
Well, yeah, but there is a mechanism in the Constitution to amend it. We have, there are examples. I think it's the 18th Amendment was repealed by the 21st Amendment, and that was prohibition on alcohol.
I'll tell you what, if something like this ever did come to fruition, you talk about a complete breakdown of our country. More than Louisiana would be rising up.
Well, here's a quote from in this article, which is from the Washington Examiner. I don't see the author's name here. It didn't print. Democrats show varying reactions. Many Democrat lawmakers and leaders in the Golden State favor Newsom's proposal, but some have expressed concern about the reality of such a ban. Now, I think if he's serious about this and he really thinks this would work, they would have to get rid of the Electoral College first.
Well, probably. You know, and
So,
I'll tell you a little bit of tidbit we're overlooking here too is 3/4 of California wants to become the 51st state. You know,
yeah.
the new state of California or something. I mean, when you look at the map, it's like 3/4 of California doesn't want to be in California.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling, actually.
Well, it's the same old thing. The big cities, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco, are run by leftist nuts, and
Yeah.
they drive. They can do whatever they want in elections. Apparently, it says, "I find it very frustrating as a liberal because we will all know this is never going to happen," says Laura Smith, which goes to my theory about it being a distraction. Laura Smith is the communications director and spokesman of the Liberal Gun Club. Yeah, and I've always said this every time we have a gun discussion. Democrats have guns too. Democrats want to protect their families too from home invaders, which there would be plenty of if there were no guns. She says it's grandstanding, and I find it offensive. That's certainly a possibility. I think she may be right. That he's just trying to get attention for himself for his presidential campaign, which I'm pretty sure he knows would be a failure.
I would bet that's one of his angles. No, notoriety or blah blah
Sure.
blah, whatever. I and this swerves off topic, but I feel like the Democrats are looking for any way that they can get him in because they don't want to keep Biden. I don't know.
No, they have. We're gonna. I want to, and we'll work on this a segment on RFK. When you start digging into RFK Jr., this guy, you mentioned he didn't seem too far left, and I would have agreed until I really started doing my homework on this. This is a bad guy. He doesn't believe in the Second Amendment. He wants people who don't believe in climate change jailed. He said that Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck ought to be tried for treason, and once convicted, get what they have coming. As far as the penalty that comes with with treason, which we all know is the death penalty. So he would have killed Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck because they don't buy into climate change, and therefore you and I and probably most of this audience.
Yeah.
So I'll wrap it up with this last point. What obstacles will the nuisance proposal face? It says, despite support from lawmakers in his state, Democrats broadly, 2/3 required is one of that's 2/3, not 3/4. I'm sorry, 2/3 will be difficult to overcome. Yeah, if you look at an electoral map by county or election map by county, most of this country is pretty damn red.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's going to happen. And not only that, but the Supreme Court would have to overrule itself. It says less than 20 years ago, the Supreme Court ruled in the landmark case, District of Columbia versus Heller, that the Second Amendment guarantees the right, the individual right to keep and bear arms for lawful uses. So what they want to do is take it away from everybody because some people are using it unlawfully.
Hey, I got one last thought here.
Okay.
It just popped into my head. This is the kind of bovine excrement which perpetuates the whole national divorce thing.
Okay? How many times have we heard from the left and people we've talked to personally, and not on the show, of course, but that, we don't want to get your guns. We just want common sense gun control. Well, it sounds a hell of a lot like they want to get my guns.
Yeah. And Jason Aldean sang about it too. We talked about that the other week.
That's right.
I just, they're
We
scary.
don't have any songs. We just have our humble opinions. And we hope we got to the points that everyone wanted covered. I'm sure we didn't. Because we always think afterwards, I could have said this or I could have said that. But we only have so much time. This video is already long. So let's wrap it up, TJ, with
all right.
Safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.